I'm going to say a few words about theological methodology. That is, I want to approach the question of not what we think about God, not just saying that God is love, Jesus is the Messiah, Jesus is the Son of God, there are 7 sacraments, and so on and so forth. But I want to talk about the way that we think. How do we ask questions and answer them in relation to God? How do we exercise human reason? Do we approach God in the belief that we can know everything with absolute comprehension? Or do we acknowledge that God is infinite, but we are finite? So I want to say something about the question. If human reason can know God, can we do that? And if so, what can we know about God? And how can our human intellects understand God? The issue is important for a number of reasons. One of them is, in my other videos on heresies and other errors, if we look at those heresies and examine them closely, what we find is that many of the heretics made a mistake, or several mistakes, about the way that the human mind can or cannot think about God. The reality is that heretics took the same scripture, the same tradition, as those of more orthodox faith. So it wasn't the data they used, it wasn't the sources they used, it wasn't the previous church teaching that they used. None of these made a difference, so much as the theological method or the way that they thought about God. That's why this is important. So first there is the question of whether we can know about God through human reason. Now, in answering that question, the First Vatican Council, the council I call the neglected council, said that we can deduce God's existence and we can know something about God's relationship to ourselves and the world by examining the world around us. That is, the council was saying that through the light of human reason and through observing created things, we can know God. In other words, human reason alone can deduce that there is a God. It can deduce that there is a benevolent God, a God who relates well to us. And we can deduce this by thinking, by reasoning, by examining the world around us and saying, for example, that this world reveals an order and a creation that comes from a good God. But Vatican II said that in the context of a 19th century debate. The debate was between rationalism and fideism. The rationalists believed that we can only speak about God in terms that we can prove through human reason alone. In other words, rationalists said we should exclude revelation and we should only affirm the things of God that we can affirm through philosophy. On the other hand, there were the fideists. The fideists believed that reason was unnecessary and that faith alone was all we needed to appropriate the mysteries of the faith. So, in this 19th century context, in this ferment of thinking between the rationalists who held to reason alone, the fideists who believed in faith alone, Vatican I was prompted, and it came out with the answer that the Catholic way is that we should affirm both faith and reason in their proper place. Faith and reason together can give us a certain knowledge of God. Having said that, the Council clarified that the knowledge of God we get from natural reason is limited. Human reason can work out that God exists. Human reason can work out that this God must be good, and that this God is the origin of order in this universe. Human reason can work out a natural law that exists in God's universe. But the important thing the Council told us is that natural reason alone cannot tell us about the essence of God. Natural reason cannot tell us that God is Trinity, that God is love, or what sort of love God has. It cannot tell us that Jesus is the Son of God and the Messiah. The Council clarifies that those sorts of things can only be known through revelation. So, what's important here is that Vatican I encourages Catholics to use both faith and reason, but to use them in their proper place. That yes, there are things that we can know of God through reason, but they're limited, because those other things, the things that we call mysteries, can only be known by us through revelation.